Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I wanted to share with you this really cool diorama style card that I have made. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's so cool. I've used some dies from my stash to make this really cool card, and I think you could make this if you have this collection, or even if you don't have it, you could make it with products that you have in your stash yourself. I mean, the diorama piece is brilliant because it has all these slots in it that you can add these pieces into, but you could just do this accordion fold piece at the side here yourself and make a little slot opening for your pieces, and I'm going to show you that more in depth. So this card folds flat. There is a little bit of dimension here under my igloos. Everything else is flat, but really you can add or take to the dimension that you want. I've used some sparkle pen on my igloos and on my snow drifts. I've used a little bit of glossy accents here along the bottom to give it that kind of a wet look. I've got some really cute penguins, polar bears, snowflakes, and a great pattern paper in the back. And this card, you can see the pull here. What does it do when I pull? Well, this little baby bear is running away from Mummy and Daddy Bear, who wants him to come in for his dinner. That's the story I have in my head. So yeah, my little bear goes over and back. Now, I showed this card to Obi. He thought it was great, but he said, I don't like the baby bear there. It's like as if the other two are running after it, trying to eat it. I didn't have that image in my head until he put it there. But yeah. So you can have your little baby bear there or not. But I liked the idea of Mummy and Daddy Bear coming out either to bring him in to have his dinner, or it's time for bed. Let's go. But yeah. So this is the card we're going to make. And I'm going to go through some of the products now that I've used in this card make. So this is the diorama set that I have used. Now, it's out of stock because it's a Made To Surprise set, and Sam's sets never last long. When they come up for sale in Craft Stash, they generally go really quick. I'll leave links down below, but like I said, I don't think these are left. And the other dies I'm going to use. This die, I have used this one here, the diorama, and I've just cut it off at this end here. So this is what I have. That's what I've cut out, and that's for the sides. I've also used here, which is the North Pole die set, and I've used this one for the little penguins, for their little hats and the little earmuffs, and I've used it for the bears here as well. I've also die cut out the Have a Cool Yule, which you can see here, and the snowflakes. I was going to say stars. I don't know if it's just my brain isn't acting, but I always tend to say stars when I say snowflakes. It's just, yeah. So I may say that repeatedly throughout the video, so excuse me if I do. And what else? I think that is everything that I use from that set. Now, I also used a die from my stash. These dies are the Creative Craft products. They're the nestable stitched circle dies, and this gave me a nice opening to my card. I've also used the Made To Surprise Perfect pop-ups because I love the snow scenes. Now, I would have really liked to have used this one, but I used all of the four of these that I had. So I'm using this one here. And what I've done is I've taken the last page of this that I have left and I scanned it into my laptop. So I scanned it on my printer and then saved it to my laptop. And what I did was I printed it out. So I'm not selling this card, hence the reason why I am happy to say that I have printed, or I've copied that image, because I'm not going to sell this card. This is for friends or family for Christmas. It didn't print up well, and I thought, oh, there's no point in me keeping that one. It was the first one I printed, and the printer hadn't been used in about a week and a half. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed, and I thought, you know what, with the scene I'm going to make, so I've made this card, I'm going to make another one. I thought I can use this piece of cardstock, and you won't see it because I'm going to have a snowdrift back here. I've also taken my sparkle pen, and I don't know if you can see, I've done splatter on that to give it a sheen. So I just took my sparkle pen and I knocked it like that off my hand and went all over it to give this shine. So when it hits the light, I didn't do it on this one, so there's no shine in there, but on, I thought it would be a really cool thing to do for this one. So that's what I've done. I've used that there. I've also used some stamps as well. Inside this card I've used Have a Wonderful Christmas, but in the card I'm going to make, I have stamped wishing you a happy, fun-filled Christmas and a happy new year. And that's from the wishing you a happy, fun-filled Christmas is from this, and a happy new year is from this one, and a happy new year. So they're the two stamp sets that I've used and will use on this. And let me also show you. So this, let's just start. This was an 8x8 ready-made card blank. And what I've done is I've cut it down. So it's 8x7. And I wanted that because I do like this white panel along the edges here and here. And when it folds flat, I think it looks lovely. This panel, if I'd have left this 8x8, when I'd have stood this up, it would have fallen forward like that because of the ½ inch at the bottom. So I didn't realize that until I made this card, hence the reason I cut it down. But when I had that done, I was like, oh damn, I have to cut it down. But then when I had it done, I looked at it and I thought, that's really cool, I like that. So I've gone with that for this one. Otherwise, I could have gone with an 8x8 frame to go around this. So I've gone with a 7x7 frame, and that'll sit on there like that. Now, this is a piece of blue cardstock. It's the little Collal cardstock, which I have an abundance of in my stash. I've taken 2 ink pads, VersaFine Nocturne and VersaFine Twilight, and I've ink blended around the edge of this because I wanted to pick up, if you can see in there where our Santa and the reindeer are around the moon, it has a lighter color halo, so I wanted to do that with this. You can see around the edge here, it's lighter in color than on the outside. So I was trying to mimic the pattern paper that we're using there. So you can see here better, we have a lighter around the moon and darker to the outside. So that's what I was mimicking there. I took my die. Now this die measures, let's see, what's the opening? It's going to cut a 5, just over 5.5. So 5 5/8 is the opening that this die is going to cut. I popped that in there and then I cut that out. And I've also, now this is up to yourself, before I die cut this out, I added a piece of white cardstock, and this is about 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. I added that on the back to give this strength. Now, although my cardstock is 280 GSM, my white cardstock is 300 GSM. I wanted to have strength in the frame. I didn't want it to be floppy, so that's why I have done that, but it's up to yourself. You could actually put a piece of acetate across this and your acetate would give it strength as well, but that's what I've done with those. So as you can see, this is the image that we're going to have. That'll sit on our card like that, and then this one will pop up. Now again, I did the splatter thing with my Spectrum Noir Nouveau sparkle pen. You could use a Wink of Stella. I used Wink of Stella on this one and the Spectrum Noir on this one. And again, I just tapped it onto it. You might see it better on that one. And I will keep this and use this on another project. But I thought that was lovely to give it a nice bit of sparkle. It's a Christmas card, so I like a bit of sparkle on my Christmas card. So that's going to go on there. We'll have our 2 side pieces for our diorama on each side. And then I've taken 2 little snowbanks. To think of the word, and I've cut them out. Now this snowbank, it measures 6 3/4 and the height at the tallest is about 4 7/8. I took my grey, my lightest grey alcohol marker. I have the Spectrum Noir, so it's IG, which is Ice Grey 1, and I went along the edge there, and then I just did little squiggle lines. On top of that, then again, I put my sparkle pen so that my snowdrifts, when you look through the card, you'll see this little hint of sparkle. So this is going to go on the back here, like this. And then this one, which measures 5 1/4 by 2 inches, is going to sit here like I have done on this one here. And you can bring it up as high or as low as you want, and I'll probably bring this down quite low like that, and that'll sit in the front. And then in the middle I have another piece, and this is from the die set. I've extended the cut, and that is going to go in here like that. So we'll have this piece raised up in the middle like what we have going on in our card in there. You can see it's split from the back and the front. It's in the middle there. Now this piece is cut out using a die like this. So you're probably wondering, Simone, how did you do that? Well, what I did was I've taken a piece of white cardstock. I've set my die on it. I will take my die cutting plate then, and I will cut only so far up. Now, I know I want this piece to be 6.5 inches long. So I took a ruler and I put it to the edge of my die, and then I marked at 6.5 inches. So when I put this into my die cutting machine, I will put it in like this, and I will put the plate on top like so. Whatever is under the plate will cut in your die cutting machine, but if it's not under the plate, it won't. So when that gets die cut out, then I lift this piece up, I'll move it along to my 6.5 inch mark, and where it's cut down here, your die will kind of sit into place. I'll then turn this around. I'll put my plate back on top, and I'll just cover it to where the die cutting will meet up. So I'll add it on here and I'll put it through again. And you can see then that's where the plate met this die, was here in the middle. So I just kind of finished the cut in there, and that's what gave me this extended piece. These little notches here will sit into our little pieces here, and we'll fold these down like so, and we will fit these through here like so, and then we'll open those out, and that'll keep this in place, and that's how that'll work. I'll actually pop that down into the bottom one like this. This is where it'll sit, in the bottom one there. Now what we need to do is we need to fold these, and it's an accordion fold. So you fold one up, you fold one back, and Sam recommends that what you do is you actually put this into your scoreboard and go over the score lines. I don't think it needs it. It just depends on the pressure on your machine. But what I do is I'll fold over like so, and then I'll take my burnishing tool and I'll just go over all those folds to make sure that I have a nice crease on them. Now when you burnish those folds, you can see there the difference between this one now and this one. Oh, I didn't burnish these folds. All I did was used a bit of pressure, just pushing down on them like that, and that way they opened more. So it depends on how flat you want your card to go, but they will fold down flat like that to go into an envelope. I'll probably put this in a box. Might actually make, with this one, I'd make a box that's 8.5 inches by 7.5, and then my card will fit into it. It'll be about 1 inch in height, my box will be, and that way this will fold down and fit in the box. And it's as much a gift, you know, like when I give these special cards to family and friends, and you know, they're kept, and I have family and friends that have brought out Christmas cards that I've made, and they bring them out each year as a decor piece because they like them so much, and that flatters me. But yeah, so you know, it can be thrown in the bin or it can be brought out each year. So that's our side pieces. The next thing we need to look at is the mechanism. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to add the mechanism that's going to pull out our little bears there. So I'm going to clear this off and I'm going to show you all that. So I have all my little bits in here. This is for our mechanism, but before I show you that, what I'd like to do is show you the other pieces I have. I have the Have a Cool Yule, and what I did was I took blue cardstock and the white cardstock, and I used the die to die cut it out. Now I put the two pieces of cardstock together and put it through the die cutting machine. When I peeled off the blue, I just took off the little blue letters that was left behind, and then that way I could sit this one down and it cut out the back for me. But you can see, I hope you can see there, the white letters are still in place because the die didn't add enough pressure to cut out my letters. It just cut out the actual shape. So I find that really, really handy when I have an intricate die and I want to keep a backing for it. I'll die cut it with 2 layers of cardstock. So that's what I did for this. I've die cut out a number of the little igloos. I have 4 of them here. And what I did was I took one of them and put a piece of cardstock behind it. And then I used my alcohol markers to colour them in, because if I just put white on white, I have no alcohol marker on this one here, but I have put alcohol marker on that one there. And can you see the difference? It makes the white on white pop out a little bit more. So again, I've used my IG1, my lightest grey colour, to colour these, and then I took my IG2 and did little strokes down with it just to give this you know, kind of effect. So when you look at it, it looks very dark, but when you put it with a white colour, it just helps it to pop. With my little bears that I have cut out, you might notice the difference in these compared to my igloos. My igloos, I've used an ice colour, a cold grey is what I would call it. But with my bears, I've used a warm grey. It's a kind of a brown grey, and this just gives some shading to my little bears. I don't know if you can see it very well in my hand, but it makes all the difference when, again, you put it with your white background. It helps them to pop. So I have 3 different sizes. I have the large, I have the medium, and then I have our little small baby, or the little baba bear as well. There is a little scarf that you can die cut out. There's 2 different sizes. There's this size, and then there's the bigger size that I have in this card here. But I was going to put on the bears, and I thought, you know what, doesn't really need it. I'm just going to put it on to my penguins. And again, these all die cut out in different pieces, and then you just add to them. You've also got the clothes and the lovely little earmuffs as well. So you can see here I've cut them out in the blue cardstock, but then I took my blue alcohol marker and it actually looks a darker blue. In real life it's a much paler blue, but I hope you can see on them I've done some shading using my alcohol markers just to give them a little bit of dimension on our penguins. And as well on our penguins I've given a little shading to their bellies and under their neck, just so that they don't look flat, they look more dimensional. And then for a finish, I die cut out lots of the snowflakes. In this one, I've done it in silver. I was thinking of going with the gold for the other card. I just thought a bit of gold might bring a bit of warmth into it. I do prefer the silver, but hey, it's Christmas, so I'm going with the gold. Okay, and now for a finish, let's have a look at our mechanism. So our mechanism is literally this. It is a piece of cardstock. Now our cardstock measures 2 inches by 1 1/4, and I've gone around at 1/4 of an inch. So I've scored 1/4 of an inch, rotate it, scored 1/4 of an inch, rotate it, scored 1/4 of an inch, rotate it, and you can see that on all the sides. And then I've cut out the middle piece, and I'll show you how I did that. I took my scissors and I just cut along the score line like that, and then cut up like that, and it takes out this piece. These pieces are to keep our little sandwich bag in place. Now we're going to use a little strip of plastic, and for me I have some IKEA Ziploc bags or sealed bags, sandwich bags, whatever you want to call them, and that's what's going to give us our sliding movement. So I have a piece here and it's going to wrap around here, and you want it just a little bit smaller than the width of the opening here. So the width here is 3/4 of an inch. So I just cut a little bit smaller than 3/4 of an inch. So about 5/8 of an inch is all you want, is as wide. So wrap that around there like so. And then what you want to do is you want to take a little piece of double-sided tape, and that's what I would recommend for with plastic, because liquid glue on plastic or acetate, when it dries, it can actually pop off. So I always prefer to use some double-sided tape. And your double-sided tape, it needs to be 1/8 of an inch in width, because you're just going to stick it on to your plastic at the very edge. And when you do that, you'll wrap this one over it and it'll stick them together, and that'll give you this sliding piece. And you can see here, hopefully you can see along the edge there where I have my tape put down, so my little piece will slide over and back. I've taken some foam tape, and you can either take some foam tapes and cut them to 1/8 of an inch. Now this is actually slimmer. The foam tape that I am using is some foam tapes that I got on Amazon, and I'll leave a link to them down below. They're just under the 1/8 width, and they're not very thick at all. You can see there. I find them great for using for a mechanism. So what I did was I took my foams and I put one layer on the back, and you can see there our plastic can slide really freely. And then on the front, I've put 2 layers. Now, when our little mechanism sits over the front, and that's why I have one with a piece of cardstock in the middle, this is going to sit over the top like this. And then you can see there, it'll sit onto the back like that. Now, this piece you can see, if I put it on like that, it would kind of stick out at the corners. So what I did was, on my mechanism, I just rounded off those corners. So when this is behind here like so, and this piece is turned over, you won't see it. Now if you look down, you'll see it, but when you're looking straight on, and you can see there, on this one I actually put 2 mechanisms. I put 1 mechanism on with 2 igloos. I just extended it. So instead of it being 2 inches long, I went longer and did the same thing. So this mechanism can be made to any size you want. It just depends on what you're hiding it behind. Because I have my 2 bears coming out there, I needed to have 2 igloos, and you can see them down in there, and you can see the mechanism there as well. I hope the light is shining well enough. You can see it's much wider, but with this one, I'm just going to have 1 little bear coming out. So he'll go on here. Our mechanism will go on there. Our little bear, I have got a piece of acetate, and my acetate measures 7 inches by 3/8 of an inch. I've taken a piece of double-sided tape. This is just a white one, it's not the red liner one, and I have a piece of that on the back. That's going to sit on here. I'm going to bring my plastic wrap where I've got my tape on here. I'm bringing that right up to the edge, and this piece then will stick on like so, and you can see my little bear fits in there. If I had to put this fella on, he would have been a much tighter fit. Now he would have fit, but I just felt I'd go with the smaller bear for this one. So I'm going to stick my acetate down there, and then when I pull on my acetate, my plastic will move and my little bear will come out. And when I push my acetate back in, my little plastic will slide back over, and my little bear, you'll see there, he'll be on here like so, and he'll actually be hid behind, and when I pull it out, you'll see our little bear will come out from behind our igloo like that. So now I hope I explained that well enough for you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move everything out of the way, and I'm going to start doing some assembly. I'm going to speed this bit up, but there is a little cog. If you look up at this part of your video on YouTube, there's a little cog there, and if you click on that, it will slow down the video. You'll just need to mute my voice because otherwise I'll sound like a gerbil. But if you want it slowed down more than what I'm doing, use that little cog to slow the video down. And you can do that on any of your videos on YouTube if they're going too fast, or you want to see something a little slower than what it's been shown. Click on that little cog and you can slow things down. So now I'm going to speed everything up. I have already assembled my diorama sides on there, and I figured it was easy enough. You add a bit of glue onto one tab and stick it on the side, and then add a little bit of glue onto the other tab and stick that onto the other side. I figured it's pretty easy enough to stick them in place. Once I have that done, then it's just a matter of deciding where I want my mechanism to go, whether I want it on the raised up piece or have it on the back, but I'm going to put it on our piece that is connected to the diorama. So I've just stuck that down, and I have stuck the little igloo over the front. Our piece of acetate just gets put through the holes on the side of the diorama, and that's basically it. I mean, it's as simple as that. All we have to do then is just embellish it. So I have a bit of foam on mine because, like I said, I like some dimension, but if you don't want to have dimension, then don't add foam. I've got some foam as well behind my little penguins, but I don't have any foam where the circle opening is. So just have your foam so that it doesn't stick to anything else. I'll add my 2 little igloos there in the back. I've glued one to the other and then added the glue to the 2 of them and stuck that on the back. And then I've added another little igloo beside our mechanism one, and I'm just dotting my little bears all around to the different areas that I wanted. And I really recommend that you stand the card up and look at it front on to see where you're putting things, so you can make sure that you can actually see them when the card is stood up. I stamped this sentiment from our house to yours, and again it's on one of those stamp sets that I showed you, and I'm attaching now all my little snowflakes. Some of them I've layered up, the gold on white and the white on gold, and some of them I've just kept singly. Now I must say I do like the gold, but I do prefer the silver. I think this is a card I'll make. I have 2 of them made now. I'll probably make a couple more, but I think I'll keep them to the silver. I think the silver goes better with this card because everything is white and grey and blues, and I think the silver goes best. The last thing now to do is just add a little piece of white cardstock on the acetate with pull so that people can see where to pull. So there we go, folks. There are our 2 cards using some Made to Surprise products. If you don't have these products, you could still make them using products from your stash. I really, really enjoyed it. And I love the dimension. I love the fact that it all folds down nice and flat to go in an envelope. Or you can make a box card, a box for yours to put your card in. So that's it. If you've enjoyed my video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing. And if not, please ding on the bell. That way you'll be notified next time I post a new video. Card measurements are down in the description. And if you make this card, I'd love for you to share it on my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts. There's a super thanks button down below. If you'd like to support my channel, you can click on that. And I'm going to leave it there now, folks. And until next time, thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.